Perhaps slightly more profound is to think about the Sedras from Lech Lecha to Vayechi as the Sedras in which the building blocks of Klal Yisrael are being laid down. The fathers, the mothers, the Shiftei Koh. And we must remember that Klal Yisrael is a spiritual phenomenon. Although we have bodies and we walk the earth like other people, we are a Goy Kodesh. We are a nation of priests. We are the soul of the world, and the Umas Olam are the body of the world. And any approach to the Jewish people which tries to magushan them, or politicize them, and take them away from that spiritual destiny, and try to equate them to other nations is total heresy. So when we look at the story of Esav in these Sedras, he's arrived at a point in Chumash which is concerned with developing that spiritual phenomenon we call Klal Yisrael. So the question is, this vast potential that he was born with, was it merely a personal matter? Was it really for him to work with it as he wished or not? Or was that spiritual potential meant to be another building block in Klal Yisrael, like the Midas of Avraham, Yitzhak, Yankov, their experiences, their triumphs, the triumphs of the Amois, of Yosef and the Shvatim? And it seems most likely, of course, that his spiritual potential was meant to be part of the wider story of our development. And therefore, it couldn't afford to go lost. So the main thrust of this Shir is that, in fact, it didn't go lost. That spiritual potential had to be salvaged by somebody else and given over to Klal Yisrael for our use. And to trace the history of that, I want to go back to the beginning of Parshas told us. Before the twins are born, before they even davened for. And the Sedra opens by telling us facts we already know from previous Sedras, from Lech Lecha, from Vayera, from Chayesora. Starts by telling us that Yitzhak was ben Avraham, and Avraham hoiledis Yitzhak. And the Rivka was bas basura Arami mipadn Aram, and Achos lovan Arami. Now we know the Torah never repeats anything unnecessarily. Every single letter is laden with many, many levels of meaning. And of course, there are many approaches to understanding why we should be reminded of these facts before the birth of the twins. So one possible approach is the idea of the potentials that they inherited from their parents. What did Rivka and Yitzhak provide for these children? That brings us to a famous debate in science and psychology about whether a child is a product of his own nature or his nurture. Is it the teva he's born with dictates how he'll grow up? Or is it the environment he's in, the values and his parents give him, the experiences he has as he grows as a child that affect and shape him? And I think it's fair to say that in Torah we say it's both nature and nurture. Everyone has a shorish and a shoma. Later generations have inherited certain qualities from the Ovos which we are expected to develop in ourselves. We have past lives, but they've given us experiences as well. But of course, once we're in an environment, we're affected by it. It cannot be that generally children will follow in their parents' footsteps and will certainly soak a lot in from them. So what was it Yitzhak and Rivka had to give to these children which was necessary? I think for any individual, organisation or klal to able to be prosper, there's many necessary components, but two of them I think are continuity and novelty. First of all, we need a Messiah. We're not expected like Avraham to sit in a cave and discover Yiddishkeit by ourselves. The very fact that we have given values developed already for us makes our life much easier and gives us a road to walk on. But it says in davening in various places, Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosseinu. Baal Shem HaKodesh explains there's two necessary components. The Messiah, v'Elokei Avosseinu, but you yourself have to make your own connection with Hashem. You yourself in your own life have to find your way to Hashem as well, and that's the Elokeinu. You need both of them. So you see, you need novelty. You need roots that keep the tree in the ground, but if it doesn't continue to grow and put out leaves and branches and get nearer to heaven, it dies.
But you can't have Elokeinu, can you, without Elokei Avosseinu coming first?
That's why Yitzhak's mentioned first and then Rivka. Thank you very much. So Yitzhak is the continuity. It underlines his relationship with Avraham. Although he had his own element to bring to Klal Yisrael, Gevura, as opposed to Chesed, the fact is he saw himself as adding another floor, with all the building going on downstairs, it's quite topical, another floor to the binyan that Avraham had already started developing, the binyan of Klal Yisrael. So he understood that his work was a matter of continuity. He was born in the holy tents of Avram and Sarah in Eretz Yisrael. He was born in a wonderful atmosphere. He soaked it in, and he added to it. Now, had Rivka soaked in the atmosphere she was born in and added to it, it would have been a total disaster and changed the whole place in history. But she rather challenged her environment. She brought in the idea of novelty, that I'm not going to accept my environment at all. I'm not going to be like Basal. I'm not going to be like the people of Padnaram. I'm not going to be like Loven. I'm going to strike my own path to Hashem. And in fact, when she says at the end, when they try to dissuade her from going along with Eliezer, she says, V'eilach, I'll go, and Rashi says, Ma'atzmi, whether you like it or not. Some of the Forshim were a little bit, upset with she, a bit chutzpahdik, how can we explain it? But really, it was a siyum of her whole approach in her whole life so far. I'm going to do what's right, and I'm not going to buy into your values whatsoever.
How did she have inside her what's right? That's what I don't understand. How did she have inside her what's right? If she came from completely bad, not really having the thing, how did she get it inside her a bit of having what's right? That's what I don't understand.
There are shmizim in the Sfarim, not specifically about her, but there are various approaches I've seen. I think Chasam Sofer talks about this like a problem in one place. The two approaches that I've come across, one is that because Hashem knows you'll use the opportunity, he gives you a kickstart. He wakes up your neshama and then says, look, here's the truth, now are you going to do something with it?
So you're saying there's two things and everybody's got a possibility. When a person's born, that is, he can learn from his parents, or he can get a kickstart from God.
If he's
lucky.
Yeah, if it's the right thing to do at the right time. So that's one approach. And the other approach is, which is Rabbi Waisman, he maintains that even a peasant in Siberia will be chayav for not recognising Rabbanu Shalom, because everybody has the seichel to come to it himself. So there's an argument there, but probably one or the other or both was happening in Rivka's case. So why do we need these two contributions? In remembering not just building Yaakov and Esav, but building Klal Yisrael, continuity and novelty. Because essentially, if you look at the whole of our history, there's two phases. Sitting in Eretz Yisrael with the Beis Hamikdash, keeping the whole Torah, Nevuah, Malachim, Sanhedrin, continuity, openness, brightness, wonderful. That's Yitzhak's life. The other part, which is actually in years the major part of our history, is being in Golus. We spent more time out of Eretz Yisrael since Moshe